We want to take you to New York right now, where District Attorney Ray Tierney, the Suffolk County District Attorney, is holding a press conference to announce some brand new developments in the Gilgo Beach homicide investigations, specifically about one of the victims who's been described only as Asian Doe. We know that Rex Heuermann is currently charged with murder in the deaths of 6 women over the past 3 decades. He has pleaded not guilty in all of those cases. He is not charged with the death of Asian Doe at this time. Let's go in together now where Ray Tierney is speaking to the public.
Forensic reconstruction images of Asian Doe, which were provided by NCMEC, descriptions of the clothing of the victim, which he was wearing at the time of death, a picture of the various clothing labels of the clothes that were worn, new genealogical data, as well as information as to the victim's age, height, and gender identity information. Now, with regard to the initial investigation in this case, the remains of Asian Doe were discovered on April 4th, 2011. They were found, the skeletal remains were found on Ocean Parkway near Gilgo Beach in New York. I believe found in between, just closest to Megan Waterman. The initial examination revealed the following. The victim was a biological male of Asian descent. The victim was between the ages of 17 and 23. So there he was a teenager or very young adult when the murder occurred, and he was about 5'6" tall, give or take a couple of inches either way. Unfortunately, this victim suffered a violent death. The cause of death was homicide by blunt force trauma. We know the death occurred during or prior to 2006. And that those remains were on Ocean Beach for at least 5 years before being discovered in 2011. So the actual murder occurred based on the forensic examination of the remains in 2006 or earlier. Some of this information is being released for the first time, specifically the descriptions of the clothes that Asian Doe was wearing at the time of death, and that although Asian Doe is a biological male, Asian Doe was wearing exclusively women's clothing. He was wearing a chrysanthem brand blue-ribbed short sleeve shirt with a crew neck, size large. He was wearing a Raffaello brand shirt, size 10, and he was wearing a pair of women's pants and a bra, both by the brand Bill Blass. And with regard to the forensic reconstruction images, the task force was able to work with a National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, NCMEC, and a forensic artist examined the victim's skull to create the facial reconstructions that you see here. And those reconstructions depict what the victim may have looked like prior to their disappearance and murder. We have 2 pictures of a person with short hair, one head on and one in profile. And we have a third picture of an individual with long hair. Because the victim was wearing exclusively women's clothing at the time of death, it is possible that they identified as a woman or were known by others as being a woman. The Gilgo Beach Task Force also utilized genetic genealogy to learn more about this victim's specific ethnicity. It was previously known that this victim was of Asian descent. However, now we know that it is a strong likelihood that the victim is of Southern Chinese descent, Han Chinese descent, and Han Chinese is one of the 56 officially recognized ethnicities in the People's Republic of China. This is a significant development because, unfortunately, South Asia is underrepresented in our genealogy databases, meaning there are not a lot of Asian profiles in the database. Therefore, investigative genetic genealogy in this instance is a challenge. It's a challenge to identify this victim, and so far it has proved to be difficult and has provided few leads. Hence, the purpose for us being here today. We're looking for the media's assistance, and we're looking for the public's assistance in helping us provide information on this victim to get this victim's name back. And I'll just come over. These are the pictures of the individual. We have a picture of Asian Doe with short as they would appear with short hair, and a picture of Asian Doe as they would appear with longer hair. Now, with regard to outreach to the community, again, we've leaned on all our partners as we always do, but particularly in this instance, the New York City Police Department and the state troopers. We've asked for the NYPD's assistance in translating this flyer into Mandarin, into Cantonese, into Thai, and into Bahasa, which is an Indonesian language. And the NYPD will further assist in distributing flyers on the ground in the Asian communities across New York City. And again, as we know, there's a significant Asian population in New York City, so we thank them for their help. We've invited several Asian media outlets to be present here in the hopes that they can reach the Asian community directly and provide this information to those communities. Regarding our goals for doing this is a call to action. We want to enlist the public's help in trying to identify Asian Doe. With regard to the translations, we hope that the public and the Asian media outlets will further assist us in translating and disseminating this information into additional Asian dialects, which will further aid in the process of identification. Again, this person had a name, this person had family, this person had friends. We're reaching out to anyone who might have known this individual to help us with that identification. Again, I would just add with regard to DNA databases, those who would like to help identify Asian Doe or any other victim or missing persons in the Asian or any other community to help. You can upload your DNA to Family Tree DNA and into GEDmatch Pro and opt into law enforcement matching. Contrary to popular opinion, law enforcement doesn't have access to all DNA databases. And this identification, this IgG technology that we use, as you can see, we don't just utilize it to identify suspects. We also use it to identify victims and to provide closure to the families of missing victims. If you really want to help, please consider uploading your DNA profile into those 2 commercial databases, which allow law enforcement to access that information, but only with the consent of the consumer. Now, third, we ask that if you were around in the late 90s and early 2000s, think about the people you associated with. Think about the people you know. Did anyone of Asian descent go missing? We believe Asian Doe may have been working as a sex worker around the time of their disappearance prior to 2006. We believe that they spent some time in New York City prior to their death. And we want to urge the public, don't discount someone just because you know them to be from somewhere outside of New York City. As we know, people often come to New York City for a myriad of reasons. Prior to So that's what we're asking again. With the help of the media, let's get these photos out, let's get this information out, and let's identify Asian Doe. Crime Stoppers is offering a $2,500 reward for information leading to the identification of Asian Doe. Anyone with information regarding this case or the identification of the victim is asked to contact Crime Stoppers at 1-800-220-TIPS, TIPS, or via email or the mobile app on the flyer. You can do so in your native language. Translation services are available, so if you have difficulty with the English language, but you have information, provide it to us in your native language, and we will translate it. Again, please share this information far and wide, and let's help get this victim identified and give this victim their name back. Prior to taking questions, I'm going to turn it over to the New York State Police. We have, as I've said, we've had Lieutenant Richard St. Preux, and he is going to introduce the Mandarin translator. Thank you, Lieutenant.
Okay, the Mandarin translator being brought in next. If you're just now joining us, this is an update from the Suffolk County, New York District Attorney's Office. Ray Tierney, the DA, leading this presser, essentially asking for the public's help in identifying one of the victims known only up to this point as Asian Doe. They've been able to ascertain some things by analyzing this person's skeletal remains. They believe the person was somewhere between the ages of 17 and 23, a biological male, about 5'6", but wearing women's clothing at the time of his death. He's believed to have been a sex worker. Investigators also believe Asian Doe suffered a very violent death that occurred prior to 2006. They believe that this victim is of Southern Chinese descent, and the victim's body was found along Ocean Parkway in April of 2011. Now, let's go back in. The DA is going to be taking some questions from the public. They're hoping that with more information added to this victim description, that perhaps somebody will recognize who this person is.
So, we have a bail document which details some of the internet searches done by the defendant, and some did contain searches using similar terms that we just described. Anything else?
Can you speak more about the
So yeah, it's a violent death, blunt force trauma, which led to the individual's death. So this was a violent assault resulting in the defendant's death.
District Attorney, is there anybody like a forensic scientist or someone to speak to the difficulty of bringing this image?
No, we don't have anyone there. But, basically what it is the forensic anthropologists, forensic artists. They start at the skull, and then using the characteristics of the skull, they essentially create, and using their training, of course, they create the diagram of the individual. So we believe this is the most accurate possible depiction of the victim.
And the language that Joe is speaking?
That was the language that the trooper. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Were there any?
Was there DNA reserved at the crime scene prior to 2006? That's many years that the victim was created.
Yeah.
Is there DNA you work with that maybe it's not always good?
I mean, I think you never say never. We've seen the way that the DNA technology has evolved. So we do have DNA, and so we're working with it.
Were there some?
I'll get to you in a second.
Jane, how rare is it for somebody not to be identified for such a long period of time that no one has come forward and said they think that is your career? How rare is that?
It's not unheard of, especially when you're talking about a crime of this nature. When you're talking about a community that's an immigrant community that tends to be insular. So again, we think a lot of times, and again, this person we believe was brought from outside the jurisdiction into the jurisdiction. So when you combine all those things, it's not that unusual. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that we send out the information far and wide, not just to Suffolk County, not just to New York, but across the country and across the world. Yeah, I'm sorry, Brad.
Were there any similarities in the way that this body was disposed of with those that were left nearby? And, I mean, are you considering Rex Heuermann a suspect in this case?
So if you look at, where it was situated, I think it was about 300 or so feet from Megan Waterman in that same stretch of Parkway. So it was between Megan Waterman and Jessica Taylor. And, as we've said all along, each one of these these victims, it's a separate crime scene. Start from that separate crime scene and you work your way up, which we're doing. And, it's all nice to speculate, but it basically doesn't matter until you can bring charges on. We're certainly not at that stage. Well, I think probably what you're referencing is specifically with regard to the Gilgo 4. Those were uniquely, they were almost identical, and they're unique from the other bodies.
So
there's always evidence at the scene, and we're analyzing that evidence, and if it bears fruit and results in charges, we'll talk about it at that time.
Mr. Chairman, when you talk about how this was found where clothing and you talk about the LEDs before, was there any of the material, burlap, anything else, sheet, case, anything at all that was found?
I'm not entirely certain. I know specifically that this victim was clad in the clothes that we've described.
All right, we're going to hit the pause button right here. So essentially, there is no definitive answer as to who this victim is, but investigators seem to be encouraged by some bits of information they've been able to ascertain through the various components of their investigation. They're hoping that by doing this today, the public will think long and hard about who it could be. We're going to hit a break. When we come back, we'll get you back into that press conference live. Good Monday morning to you. Thanks for waking up with us here on Court TV Live. I'm Julie Grant. We are in a press conference right now in New York, in Suffolk County, to be specific, where the district attorney is updating the public on the Gilgo Beach Murders investigation. We know there's been a lot of evidence to go through, and today's update is focused particularly on a victim known only as Asian Doe, a victim whose skeletonized remains were found on Ocean Parkway in 2011, but this person has believed to have suffered a very violent death in the year 2006. A biological male dressed in women's clothing, about 5'6", believed to be of Southern Chinese descent. Let's go back in now and hear more from the DA.
I don't know what that means. We start from our victim, we start from our crime scene, we work our way out, and we don't talk about it until we're able to charge them.
So to clarify, you said you're testing other evidence from the scene. Is there other physical evidence suggesting somebody else, linking somebody else to that scene other than the victim?
There's always physical evidence, and you work through the physical evidence. You utilize the various modalities. Those modalities are changing, evolving. So it's a continuing process, and until that process is complete, you don't discuss it. So we're not at that stage where we're prepared to discuss it, but there's always a myriad of physical evidence at any scene. It's just whether or not it's relevant or not, or it's able to be tested.
Would you have to know the identity of this person to bring charges against somebody? In other words, if you found out strong evidence of a suspect in this case was at the scene and you still don't know who this person is, could you charge somebody?
Yes. He was not brought in umbrella. Nope.
And what about recent searches for Heuermann? Did any searches correlate to this victim?
Well, I would just ask that you look at the bail document, because we have a number of searches with regard to searches that could arguably be related to this victim, as well as the Gilgo Beach investigation and the discovery of bodies on Gilgo Beach. Sure.
It makes it more difficult to identify someone if they are male, identify as
Well, that's it's the public, and so I think when you talk about immigrant communities from outside of Suffolk County and a body found inside Suffolk County in general, you wouldn't be all that surprised in having difficulty to identify this particular victim, and then there are all those other factors as well. So not completely unsurprising that we've not been able to identify the victim, but the most important thing is that we identify that victim, regardless of the outcome of any criminal case, just to provide that victim and the family with, give the victim his or her name back and provide the family with closure.
You said that you believe this person may have spent time in New York City before their death. What does that belief based on?
It's based upon our investigation, which I'm not going to get into.
Why now? Why over here? Because the forensic anthropologist just gave these renderings and had them for a while. Why was the time?
Yeah, these were done through NCMEC, and that was a fairly involved process. We really appreciate their assistance. Obviously, it's a painstaking process, and it took some time. So, once we had the information available, and also the DNA, the specific genealogy of DNA, we wanted to provide it to the public because we think it'll help the investigation and help to identify this individual. Okay, thank you all so much. Thank you.
Okay, so there we have it. That concludes this morning's update from Suffolk County. I want to bring in our guest, a legal analyst now, I should say law enforcement analyst, somebody who worked and served in Nassau County for many, many years. He was a commander there of the Nassau County Police K-9 unit, Lieutenant Mike Gould with us. Lieutenant, tell us what you make of this update today and the information. What, if anything, are you thinking about after this conference concluded?
Yeah, Julie. So this isn't surprising to me at all. So for the viewers that don't know this particular area, Gilgo Beach is a barrier beach next to Jones Beach. Maybe people know it that way. But it's one lane in, one lane out. It's a road. And it's 10 miles east of Kennedy Airport. So this has been, the marshlands around Kennedy Airport has been a dumping ground for bodies. It's a very convenient place, considering the population of New York City. There's not many places to go quickly and be able to dispose of bodies. So this Barrier Beach Ocean Parkway, ironically, Julie, I used to train our canines down there because it was desolate, and we can train our rescue dogs, our search dogs, as well as cadaver dogs because of its isolation and proximity to New York City. Queens has a large Asian population. Back in the day when this victim would have been murdered, Asian sex trafficking was very, very popular, maybe still is now. So this doesn't surprise me. It's actually, what surprises me is that more bodies unrelated to Rex Heuermann is not being discovered, and I think they will because they work with the cadaver dogs. That's where we trained them down there. So we're always out there looking for. That's exactly where I used to work with the dogs.
Sure, I knew you know so much about this this case, this wide investigation. Lieutenant, you mentioned something with respect to Rex Heuermann. So we know he's got 6 homicide charges pending right now. Tell me, when we think about the number of victims there, many people wondering, kind of the million-dollar question is there one killer at work or multiple killers? And as you noted, this is a place where if one's going to hide a body, as you said, it's desolate, it's remote, it's a place that would be ripe for covering up a crime like that. What's your professional opinion, Lieutenant? Do you think we have more than one killer at work here?
Yeah, well, the ones that are being charged by Heuermann, they're going to have evidence to support it. But I think they actually recovered a child out there at one point, a baby. I don't recall all of the. I've been a little out of the loop on it.
You're correct.
But yeah, it's been a dumping ground, so I don't think he's going to be related to that. So yeah, there's whether they're going to be able to solve these things. This is going to be difficult to find. This particular Asian Doe is going to be a difficult test. Whenever he was murdered. There's not going to be a lot of DNA to connect them with, so it's going to be a stretch. It's great that they're putting it out there. Somebody somewhere might recognize him and put this in some context. But yeah, no, as I said, I think there'll be more bodies found, personally, or at least parts of bodies. And yeah, organized crime has been using the marshlands around Kennedy Airport forever to dispose of bodies.
Lieutenant, what do you think are some of the biggest challenges these investigators are facing now trying to, identify victims and then potentially connect them, with a killer for prosecution. What do you think some of the biggest hindrances are at this point?
Sure. Physical evidence. If the physical evidence is going to deteriorate, these bodies have been out there for a long time. Don't forget, this whole Gilgo Beach killing has been going on for decades. It's kind of ironic, though. On Long Island, there was conspiracy theories. There were podcasts going on forever. This was right in Rex Heuermann, literally in his backyard. He was 5 miles from the Barrier Beach if he crossed the water. So, and nobody had him on the radar scale. Radar screen. So fortunately, the DNA evidence, they retrieved his Heuermann's DNA. They had some of the victims' DNA, but it's going to be challenging. I'm going to be interested in when this thing starts to go, when the trial begins, to see exactly. Mike Brown is a great attorney, so Rex Heuermann, if he has any, that's one thing he has going for him, is a great attorney. I don't know where this is going to end up. He's certainly involved. I don't know for everybody that's going to be found there if he's going to be connected to that.
Lieutenant, I am in agreement with you. The best thing Rex Heuermann has going for him is Michael J. Brown, his counsel. So if anybody's up for the task, and we know he is. I'm curious, with Gilgo Beach, for anybody who's never been there, personally, I've never been, wouldn't really know what it looks like. Do you see any people socializing? Is it a place to go or not really because of the way it's constructed? Like you said, it's a barrier beach. Do you see anybody going to have a day in the sand?
Yeah, no, recreationally during the summer, yeah.
You do?
A very popular beach, one of the biggest beaches on Long Island. However, in the winter months and at nighttime, there's very little light. So you could, and this road is one road, you could see 5 miles, and you could see headlights coming at you. So there's not a lot of intersecting streets. So you could just sit there. If you were going to do something nefarious, you could sit there with your headlights out and you could see a car coming from 5 miles away. That's how desolate it is. But yeah, it's a barrier beach. In the summertime, there's a lot of recreational stuff. But when the sun goes down and there's no lights, there's a lot of room for, as I said, nefarious activities, and you're almost undetectable because of this one-lane road and it's marshland, sand. So yeah, no, it's ripe for dumping bodies.
Yeah, I can only imagine. This is really helpful. It's like you're taking us there. Appreciate it, Lieutenant. It was nice. We had some videos that we showed with the people there. Like you said, in the summertime can be really enjoyable, but look out, don't go there at night.